That's why you have to empower, you have to motivate. Well, that's the life.
Well, your English is beautiful, and it is far better than my Kazakh, so can you show me how to box?
But I have to wear my gloves, you know? You cannot talk about it loud. You cannot take this out of the house. You cannot say it out loud, asking for help.
Well, it's really nice to be here with you, Lazzat, who is the president and founder of the BRONX Fitness. This is the inaugural conversation for a series that I'm really excited about engaging in on women leaders in Kazakhstan. I've been so impressed since I came to Kazakhstan about a year ago by the number of women in leadership roles in this country. I'm especially passionate about leadership, women in leadership, because I am the mother of a 20-year-old daughter. I'm a former president and CEO of a nonprofit organization. And I think that women leaders have so much to pass on to the next generation. So I'm very excited to talk to you and other women leaders in Kazakhstan about your insights, your own learnings, and hopefully pass those on to the next generation of Kazakh women. So welcome, and thank you for agreeing to engage in this program with me.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mrs. Waxman. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to such a wonderful interview. And frankly speaking, this is my first interview in English, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I think with your support, everything's going to be okay.
Well, your English is beautiful, and it is far better than my Kazakh, so it's probably the preferable language. So maybe tell me about the work you're doing and how you got started.
Mm-hmm. My name Lazzat Irgaliyeva. As I told you, I'm the owner of 3 boxing fitness studios called BRONX Astana. And recently, 6 months ago, we opened a big fitness called BRONX Fitness. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm married. Actually, my career started in oil and gas. I worked there for approximately 15 years. And, when I was on my 3rd maternity leave, I started to find something. So what can I do here, Because my work was shift pattern. So I think that I couldn't leave, and could go out and leave my family. So when I gave a birth to my 3rd boy, I gained weight, and I started to search something to lose weight. And my husband just gave me an idea. Okay, just go and do some boxing, because boxing is a very effective, means to lose weight. And well, actually in 2016, my career as a women entrepreneur had been started. We opened the first boxing studio. In 2017, we went to Gennady Golovkin's fight to New York with the kids. And we were so inspired, and motivated. And when we came here, I said, okay, we're opening the 2nd studio. And we opened the 2nd one in 2020, during the pandemic year. We opened the 3rd one. And now you see that in 20 and 23, we opened the biggest one. It's a fitness center for 2,500 square meters, where I'm CEO, investor, and the owner.
You do it all.
I do it all.
Do it all. That's great. And you're raising 3 children.
Yes, 3
At
boys.
the same time. Yeah, that's fantastic. It's really inspiring. I know that many years back you participated in an IVLP program in the United States, and I'm curious to know, since we're talking about leadership, what lessons you took away from that program on leadership, especially as a woman.
Mm-hmm. It was a professional fellows exchange program in 2019. I went to Oklahoma. You know, when I came here after this program, I thought and I was thinking, you know, that I had to create something for the girls, you know, and just to empower my probably boxing studios and to give to spread out something for the girls, we applied for this program, for the grant, AIF grant, myself and my partner, Aygirim Kagarmanova. And we did a project. It's like a girls' engagement community. It was a project for teenage girls. The project was called Brave Girls. You know, we wanted these girls to be brave in self-defense. You know, we wanted these girls to be brave in personal boundaries, and we wanted them to be brave in expressing their personal opinions and thoughts. So, and this is actually what I did, you know. I came so enthusiastic and so powerful after this PFP program. And right after 4 months, we did this project for the Brave Girls.
That's, again, really inspiring. I know that you are very passionate about helping to address the issue of gender-based violence. And since we're in the 16 days program here, I wanted to ask you if you could talk a little bit about where that interest came from and why it's so important to you to be involved in the conversation about combating gender-based violence in this country.
You know, I have many acquaintances and I have many close friends who, during their life, they endure beatings from men, from husband's side or from a father's side as a child. And unfortunately, it's like an unspoken rule in our country, you know, and it's like you cannot talk about it loud. You cannot take this out of the house. You cannot say it out loud, asking for help. Otherwise, you'll be ridiculed, you know. And to my mind, it's our duties as a parents to educate our sons and our kids, you know, in no case to raise a hand against the women. And unfortunately, this situation is so critical. And such a violence, it's, I mean, it's still, you know, haven't been resolved. So, and based on this gender violence, we created this girls' engagement community. So we wanted these teenage girls because, you know, we did it for teenage. We saw that at this age, I mean, at the gap of this age, they come psychologically mature, you know. So.
And what do they tell you about the program and how it helps them think about their own role as women in Kazakhstan or girls in Kazakhstan? And do you think the situation is getting better with gender-based violence?
Well, as for the girls, as for our participants, like at the end, we did a big event in TEDx format. and where 10 participants participated, and they shared their experience. We had a work with a psychologist. She's a great one, and they did a good work and workshops on mental health, on sexual education, and they expressed their feelings during that event. And I was so, it was so cute to see that our project, in just probably in some minor ways, just help them, to express, to be more brave, to express their thoughts, to express their opinions, just to be as they are. If they don't like something, so just tell that you don't like it, So probably, I hope that such violence which we have now, we can solve it and we can reject it and show probably through our programs like this, how to prevent this violence.
Well, it's an incredibly admirable goal, and I can tell you're so passionate about it, and I know you embed it in your own life with your own family and your sons, and I think that's probably what gives all of us some hope about addressing the challenge for the long run in Kazakhstan and elsewhere. As a woman leader, as a CEO, I'm always curious to know who your role models are and how you draw on some of the incredible women in Kazakh history, if you do draw on any of them. And I wondered if you could share any of your thoughts about that.
Well, role model for me as a woman, as a mother, has been always been my mom. I know in the way, in her, she's an example for me in everything, as a mom, as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend, as a specialist of her level, And
what is her specialty?
My both parents are doctors.
Okay.
So my father is surgery and my mother is therapist. And, also my mother's close friend called Nadezhda. She's a very famous entrepreneur in Kazakhstan. And she actually was a role model for me as a women entrepreneur. Since I known her, I was 10 years old, When in the 19th, when the business in Kazakhstan wasn't developed so properly, she did some attempts to resell the clothes, to negotiate with the factories to resell the candies. And after all, I remember that she bought a big shop, for loan. It was wow. And, she always inspired me. And, she was, at the same time, she was a good mom. She was a good wife. She was a good leader. And the way she combined, the business and the family, that was real amazing. And, she cooked very well. She met guests very well. And she participated in so many events, and I wanted to be like her. And actually, I am now, right? But, well, I like her. And she's a big example for me still, as a women entrepreneur. And as for the historical heroines, there are two girls, famous heroines, Aliya Maldagulova and Manshuk Mametova, our machine guns, who went for war and fought for us. And this is what we should treat, that we live here now in a good and prosperous country. Well, 1,001 thanks to them for doing this, So looking back to this, I see that we have a lot of opportunities, just to empathize ourselves and do the best. Not only for ourselves, but for other people and for other generation.
Well, you're really lucky to have such strong role models in your life, both personally and historically. Not everyone has that. So it's very encouraging to hear how much you appreciate that. Another thing that I have been so impressed by and struck by since I've come to Kazakhstan is the way the Kazakh people know their families back at least 7 generations. This is so fascinating to me as an American, and I'm curious to know how far back you know your family and what they were like.
Well, it's most like you must know your 7 generations back. You must know your ancestors, right? And for example, I know, but I forget sometimes, But my kids, my sons, they know them by heart. If you ask the eldest one, the middle one, or the junior, they can tell you. And my husband, he teaches them and educate them to respect it, And it's like, I think this knowledge of knowing your generations, your ancestors, helped Kazakhs to avoid any diseases, and to avoid any incest, like kind of incest. So that's it.
Well, how do you think your life as a woman is different than maybe your ancestors 7, even 5 or 4, or even 2 generations
Even 2
back?
generations, yeah. Well, I have 2 grandmothers. One is passed away already, and they were more home women. And I know because they both of them, they have 10 children. And when
10 children each?
10 children each.
Wow.
My father's side, my father's grandmother, and from the mother's side, And it's like now when I look at them and looking at my parents, right, how magnificent my parents are, I see now that they, raised their children with all these principles and with all this love they gave to them. And as for, at that time, it was like more for men to be a breadwinner, and wife was on the backside, right, on his husband. So even my mom, she was also a good specialist. She was also good, self-educated. But my dad, he was against of her to be a head of department, for example.
Even in this generation.
Even during their time. And I can see that it was okay for my mom. She was just doing all this homework. She been working, but of course, everything was on my dad's shoulder, And as for me, in my case, you know, we both, with my husband, earning money. And that's okay for us. And thanks to my husband, that he supports me in all my educational leaderships. He carries out with all my meetings and trips. You know, and I think
It sounds extraordinary.
Well, that's the life. And, you know, I think we both show a great example to our kids, you know, as a couple that, you know, again, there should be a balance between the family and the business, you know.
But I would imagine that you, as a as a woman leader in Kazakhstan, you, like women in many places, have faced some challenges in advancing your career and setting up your business. Can you talk about some of those challenges and how you overcame them?
Well, you know, when we opened, I remember when we opened the first studio, it was in 2016. A lot of people just shook their heads saying, oh, she's a girl. She cannot cope with this business, you know. She knows nothing. She has no experience in entrepreneurship. And, you know, I think there are two rules which help me to overcome all these sayings and expressions is just believing in yourself, right? The second rule was that I'm doing a great mission, you know, and believing in my product, that my product is the best. And that's the end of story. So I know, I believe in myself, I believe in my product, so I can cope with all the problems and with all the negatives which should come.
Well, we were talking just before we started the tape rolling about a leadership brand. What's your leadership brand?
Oh, well, I have to think over. Well, probably my leadership brand is just, you know, I'm a good motivator. And my strong point is that I'm trying to find a time anyway, you know, trying to find a time to each of my personnel, you know, to talk personally. Hey, what's the problems do you have now? Hey, what about this one? Hey, tell me what are the goals? Why you're working here with me? You know, it's you know, I talk to each one, and I create develop a great strategy for everyone of their, you know, development, how they can see themselves in the future, for example. And that's probably one of the most strong point as a brand leadership.
So the relationships with the people who work with you.
Yeah, sure. I always try to talk personally, to negotiate, you know, to resolve all the negotiations personally. So,
like you said, you do everything. And why does that make a difference to have a personal relationship, or not personal, but a strong relationship with the people who work with you?
As I'm a leader, right? I'm showing like a set up good example of how the leader should be, you know. And of course, it is important also to show them how they should be treated, you know, and I'm showing this, that, okay, I'm treating you in this way. So I'm asking the same treatment, you know. That's why probably it is very important for me, you know, to talk personally with everyone. I know that it's hard, you know. My husband always says that, Lazzat, you're taking this so seriously, you're taking this so personally, but I cannot do anything with myself. This is how I am, you know.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're only as strong as the people who work with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the team is very important. You are nothing without your team.
I agree 100%.
You are nothing. That's why you have to empower, you have to motivate, you have to talk, you know, you have to ask your
and
team.
Empower.
Yeah, and empower them to do a big steps.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. You can have great ideas, but you have to combine them with great people.
Yeah, and I'm telling to my team, you know, guys, you have to believe in yourself that our mission is to develop a growth of a fully healthy generation. And this is the main goal, you know, why we're here. So I'm trying to insist, you know, this aim and this goal. So I believe in this. So, and of course, I'm pushing them to believe into this as well.
Is this the biggest in Astana?
It is the biggest. Well, actually, not in what for the brand BRONX. Yes,
Yes.
it is the biggest. Here you see the ring. This is, well, it's how to say. I'm proud of this ring.
Yeah.
It is the biggest one. It's like Olympic ring, you know. So.
So the Olympics can train here.
Sure. It's like, you know, the heart of our center. This is, of course, one of the main goals, right?
Strength.
Was to show the graffiti. You know, when I remember when I've been in US and New York, we went to BRONX. And there were a lot of graffitis, you know, old and fascinated.
Is that where the name comes from?
BRONX?
BRONX.
Yes.
As you were talking, I was thinking about my daughter who's 20 years old. She's a university student. And I'm trying to imagine you as a 20-year-old young woman. And I'm wondering, you know, when you were 20 years old, did you ever imagine that you would be the founder of a huge company in Kazakhstan?
Well, of course not. But, you know, I always was dreaming about this, you know. I wanted to be an entrepreneur since I went to my university, you know, because you probably know the company which is called Mary Kay Cosmetics. And, you know, I was the first seller. I mean, I was selling these cosmetics when I was 16 years old.
Oh, my goodness.
So, and I liked it, you know. I like to talk. I like to make presentations. And of course, hustle, yeah. And I like to have my own money. You know, because my mom, she presented me, like a bonus, you know, for me, like perfumes, lipsticks, mascaras, and all that things. And probably, actually, that what helped me, right, to earn money and to be a good entrepreneur. So I did small steps, I think, even at that time when I was 16.
So how many people are boxing? Have you seen an increase in the number of girls that are coming to the gym to do boxing, or to all of your your centers?
Do you want to know in all centers how many girls?
Yeah, and what you're seeing.
Well, generally, probably 100, 150 girls
Now. And what was it 5 years ago?
Well, it was 10, 20,
Really?
30, you know.
Good for you.
It is,
Yeah,
you know, and that's actually what we're doing for 7 years, you know, just rising up the amount of the girls to do boxing.
Well, looking back, what would you tell yourself as a 16-year-old or a 20-year-old about how to look at the future and your own future?
To dream, to be more disciplined, you know, to be positive, and to be flexible and easy at the same time.
What does that mean?
Well, you know, we have, like a women, we do have so many tasks during the day, probably thousands of tasks. We got family, we got kids, we got business, we got our personal plans, right? And sometimes we just tell ourselves, oh my God, I'm so tired, you know? But for me, this is not like you're doing a big job, you know? You have to be fun of yourself and of your work, what you're doing, you know? And to be easy and flexible, you know? It's not like, you know, even with my kids, when they come and say, oh, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. I've said, okay, no problem. Is it okay for you? How many days do you need to recover? Just 1 day. It's okay, you know? I'm not like that struggling mom. Like, you have to do, you have to go, you have to do this, you have to do that, you know? No. Balance. And this is, you know, what I'm showing to everyone, probably.
So what is it then that you want young women and young entrepreneurs in Kazakhstan to know?
Well, actually, of course, I want a lot of young leaders, I mean, in Kazakhstan, you know, and this is very important for our country and for our generation. And, you know, and I'm always telling that there is no gender in business, you know. We have so many intelligent and dedicated girls now, young, powerful, enthusiastic. So it's just, you know, your personal feelings, you know, if you have a dream, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a great leader, if you want to be a great teacher, or if you want to be the famous doctor, let's say, right, or singer, you have to believe in yourself, first of all. That's the main thing. You know, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be strong in your abilities and in your dedication, whatever you do.
And I think you also told me earlier that you have a psychologist working with you.
Yeah, it was on our project for the Brave Girls.
Yeah.
We had psychologist Akbota. She works for Nazarbayev Intellectual School. So that's why I've invited her for our project. And she did a great job with the girls. She did all these mental and psychological, you know, workshops with them.
And it sounds like, to bring it back to your work, the work you're doing with young girls in the gym, with the boxing, helps them believe in themselves more.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, this, you know, boxing help not only the boys, and for 7 years since I've started my business, I keep saying this, that boxing is good for the girls as well. Mm-hmm. It's good to build, self-defense. It's good to build, just to release your emotional feelings, to build your personal boundaries. Mm-hmm. So, and I think we're doing the best. A lot of girls in Kazakhstan are doing boxing now.
I know I have a niece who has 3 young children under the age of 8, and she works full time, and she's got 3 kids. Her husband is busy, and every week she takes time out to do boxing lessons. So
you see?
It helps to build her physical strength and her inner strength and her mental sanity.
Yeah, absolutely. When boxing for myself personally, right, it helps to be disciplined, mm-hmm. In all my daily routines work. It helps me just to switch off for 1 hour all my things and thoughts. And of course, to release my negative things. Mm-hmm. Because, every day we come across with everything, good and bad. But, we have to be strong. Mm-hmm. Not have to, but trying to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would.
Well, last question that I just want to ask you, if you have any girls who came to engage in the boxing program that you want to tell us about. You don't have to give us their name, but if you saw big changes in them from the beginning of the program to the end of the program.
We coordinating with these girls, and 2 weeks ago we did this presentation, right, ESD, and the most active, and we have them 20 approximately. Mm-hmm. They always, participate in our events. But as far as I know, as far as I've been told, my psychologist who worked with us, she told us, of course, she didn't tell us the names, right, of the girls, but she told that 6 girls probably, they came personally with their moms to took a personal, conversation. It was about abortion. It was about first sexual experience. And it was about violence. So, and for me, it was like, what? But at the same time, we were happy with Aygirim that we helped with our project to say it out loud, for some of the girls. Mm-hmm.
It's very powerful, really powerful. It's very interesting for me to really do a deep dive and, like you said, profile and highlight women who have done incredible things in leadership in this country. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.